I, 27-year-old male, have an older sister who is 33 years old. She is a stay-at-home mom to her 2 children, a 6-year-old boy and an 8-year-old girl, and she homeschools them. Our mother was a single mom and didn't have time to cook for us, so we always either ate fast food or pre-made meals to heat up. It honestly sucked because as a result, I was picky. When I got to college, I took the chance to start learning how to cook and tried out different restaurants to expand my food preferences. I always bought groceries and tried new recipes for foods I never thought I'd eat as a child. It took me some time to get used to it, but I did it. On the other hand, my sister and her husband can't cook, so their options are fast food or quick TV dinners to heat up. She always talked about needing a break since her husband was always working. I offered to do this thing each Sunday where I'd take the kids to my place and cook for them. She agreed as she could have a break for a day. Mainly, I wanted to expand the kids' palate, and their daughter has type 1 diabetes, so I feel that a well-balanced meal each week could help her. So we started that arrangement, and it was hard at first to get the kids to try it. But I worked with them, and now they are extremely excited each week. This went on for 2 months. A favorite meal of theirs is my baked chicken with veggies, which surprised me because it took me a while to get used to eating veggies, so I honestly didn't expect them to like it right away. They love to help and watch me make it. Just recently, I gave them the option of choosing what they wanted me to cook, and they chose the chicken. On the day of, I came to pick them up, and my sister wanted to talk. She told me that she didn't want me cooking for them anymore because she feels it's an insult to her parenting. I was confused because I never said anything about what she feeds them. Cooking takes a lot of time and effort, especially as a parent and homeschooling parent. I would never talk badly about how she feeds her kids. I asked her why she felt that way. She told me that the previous night, her kids were saying they were excited because they love Uncle's chicken. She asked them if they also liked Mama's chicken, to which they replied that it was Sufer's baked chicken, and the oldest said no because it doesn't taste like anything, and the chicken is hard. The second oldest said he wanted to stay with me so he can eat my food all the time. I guess that made her feel a certain way, and now she doesn't want me cooking for them anymore. I can understand where she's coming from, but I told her that the kids really love the meals and they enjoy helping to make them. I suggested I could teach her how to cook some of their favorite meals, but she said she doesn't need to. She thinks it's too much work, and her food is fine. She thinks the kids might just be saying my food is nasty because they are new to it, even though they've never complained about it before. I asked her if I could at least cook for them this week since they are so excited about it. She said no. She doesn't want it to continue. She's the mother and it's not my place. I honestly think it's silly. But she is the mom and has the final say, so I accepted that. However, she wants me to tell the kids that I won't be cooking for them anymore and come up with an excuse as to why. I told her that I accept her decision and that it's up to her to tell them. She got upset and said it wouldn't take me anything to just do it and that I was being petty. I still refused and told her it's her responsibility to tell them, not mine. Then I left. I feel like I'm in the wrong because it wouldn't actually take me anything to go along with it. They're just kids, so they'll probably be disappointed in the moment and forget about it afterwards. I doubt they'd care that much, and I feel like I made a big deal out of it. Now for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. Wait a minute. She has someone she trusts, who loves her kids and is willing to take them off her hands for a few hours every week and cook delicious, healthy meals for them. And she wants to give that up because of her ego? Comment 2. You realize she's going to throw you under anyway, don't you? Make sure you tell them the truth because she won't. It's not your responsibility to cover for her petty jealousy. She should be kissing your feet. Now, for the update. Thank you for tuning in again. So, the whole cooking situation with my sister blew up more than I thought it would. After our last talk, she went silent for a few days. I thought maybe she'd cool off, but nope, she doubled down. She told everyone in the family that I was undermining her parenting by feeding her kids fancy food they couldn't afford. It was a mess. Our aunt called me saying I should apologize to keep the peace. I was fuming because I was just trying to do something nice for my niece and nephew. Then, out of nowhere, my sister's husband called me. He's always working, so we don't talk much. He said he didn't agree with my sister and that the kids missed my cooking. He confessed that he was worried about their health, especially with our niece's diabetes. He asked if I could teach him some recipes on the down low. I was hesitant because I didn't want to go behind my sister's back, but those kids' health was on the line. We planned for him to come over to my place after work one day. He was like a fish out of water in the kitchen, but he was determined. I showed him how to make a simple stir-fry with chicken and veggies. He was surprised at how easy it was. He took some leftovers and a written recipe home. The next day, my sister called me, and she was different. She sounded defeated. She said her husband had cooked the meal I taught him, and the kids loved it. She admitted she felt ashamed that she couldn't provide that for them. It was a side of her I hadn't seen before. She opened up about how our mom's lack of cooking made her feel like it wasn't important, but seeing her kids' reactions made her realize she was wrong. I felt bad for her. I knew what it was like to be stuck in your ways because of how we grew up. I offered again to help her learn, and this time she accepted. We started with basic stuff like spaghetti with homemade sauce. She was slow, but she was trying, and that's what mattered. Meanwhile, the kids were asking about Sunday dinners. My sister decided it was time to be honest with them. She told them she was learning to cook so she could make meals like mine. They were excited and asked if they could help her. It was a turning point for her. She realized that cooking could be a family thing, not just a chore. After a couple of weeks, my sister invited me over for dinner. I was nervous, but when I tasted her chicken stir-fry, I was genuinely impressed. It wasn't just about the food, though. It was seeing her proud smile and the kids chattering excitedly about helping Mom in the kitchen. It felt like we'd come full circle, so things are better now. My sister and I are talking again, and she's even asked for more recipes. The kids still come over to my place sometimes, but now it's just for fun, not because they need a break from TV dinners. It's been a chaotic ride, but I'm glad we're finding our way back to being a family. Thank you for sticking with us through this. My half-sister mocks my newfound love for makeup and skincare, but when she pushes me too far at Christmas, I cut her off and show her what it feels like to be alone until she comes crawling back with an apology and a gym membership. So I, 16-year-old female, used to be a bit of a tomboy and didn't pay much attention to my appearance. But over the last few years, I've gotten really into makeup and skincare. It's been fun to care more about how I look and how others see me. I've also been going to the gym quite a bit, and I think the results are showing. I've been getting a lot of compliments from people around me, including strangers and family members. However, my sister, 26-year-old female, has started to make snarky comments like, "Do you really need to wear that much makeup? And don't you think you're overdoing it a bit?" It's really starting to annoy me. I tried to ignore it, but I even talked to my parents about it, and they haven't done anything to help. Over Christmas, I did my best to avoid her. Every time she came around, I'd rush off to my room, and when she tried to talk to me, I'd give her short answers. So, the day before Christmas Eve, me and my siblings, who were all in their late 20s to mid-30s, got together at our parents' place. When it was time to open gifts, I went first since I was the youngest. I opened the smallest gift and found the most amazing thing inside. My older brother, 34-year-old male, had gotten me the pearl necklace I've always wanted from Vivienne Westwood. I was so thrilled that I ran over to my brother and gave him a huge hug. After we opened our presents, we went to the kitchen to grab some breakfast. While we were munching on our food and chatting, my sister said to me, "That necklace you got looks kinda ugly, doesn't it?" I felt hurt and surprised, and my other sister immediately spoke up. "Why are you always so mean to her?" My sister rolled her eyes at me and said, "You know my name, you are such a spoiled brat. You only care about yourself. You have changed so much. You can put all that makeup on, but all you are is lipstick on a pig." I lost my cool and started shouting at her, using some words that I'm ashamed of now. So we had a fight for about 20 minutes until she grabbed all her things and pulled her husband to their car by his ear and went home. I told her not to talk to me ever. And now we're in March and I still haven't talked to her. My parents said that I was such a bad sister for cutting contact with her. Am I the a-hole? English is not my first language. Info. Just to clear things up, my sister was the youngest before me. I didn't mention it earlier, but some of you already guessed it right. She's not my full sister, we have different moms. So technically, she's my half-sister. All of my siblings are half-siblings since they also have different moms. My dad has been married 3 times. He had 5 kids with his first wife, then had 3 kids with his second wife. and with his third wife, he had me. After that, he got remarried to his second wife, my sister's mom. I call my stepmom Mom because she was the only mother figure I had in my life. I haven't talked to my biological mom in 8 years. As far as I know, my parents don't want to cut contact with my sister because she's the only one with grandkids in our family, and they don't want to miss out on seeing their grandkids. Now for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. Not the idiot. Let's review. Your adult sister that is married has been bullying a 16-year-old for months now. And when said 16-year-old sets boundaries and refuses to be harassed by a clearly jealous woman, she is called a bad sister? Up. I would ask your parents why the grown-butt adult is the victim in this. Why is it okay for her to hurt and humiliate a child? Where is your defense? Up. Your sister is clearly jealous. Have you noticed her husband paying more attention to you than normal? She's lashing out, and she should have been called on this immediately by the parents. Comment 2. Not the idiot. Ooh, wow, sis is so jealous that she isn't the prettiest one anymore. In the story, it's a magic mirror that told the evil stepmother, but here I suspect your oldest brother said something like, "Oh, isn't OP looking lovely today?" And it pissed her off. You are 16, in the bloom of youth and looking beautiful. People are noticing, possibly her husband said something too. So she's jealous, really jealous, so she's spiteful and cruel. Your mom should be stopping her bitching if she wants you two not to fight. Now, for the update. Thanks for all the comments on my last post. So, things have been pretty tense since the whole Christmas blowout with my sister. I've been trying to keep my head down and focus on school and my fitness routine, but it's been hard with the family drama hanging over me. Just last week, my brother, the one who gave me the necklace, called me up. He said he wanted to talk about the whole situation with our sister. We met at a coffee shop, and he told me something I never knew. Turns out, when our sister was my age, she had a rough time. She was bullied for her looks and struggled with her self-esteem. I guess that's why she's been so harsh on me. It's like she's trying to protect me from getting hurt like she did, but in the worst way possible. I felt a mix of anger and pity. I get that she had it tough, but that doesn't give her the right to take it out on me, right? Anyway, my brother said he'd talk to her, try to smooth things over. I wasn't sure it would do any good, but I agreed. A few days later, my dad called a family meeting. Everyone was there, except for my sister. He said he was tired of the tension and wanted us to work it out. He shared stories about each of us growing up, how we all had our struggles and how we should be there for each other. It was kind of touching, but also a bit awkward. Then out of nowhere, my sister walked in. She looked different, kind of nervous. She sat down and started talking. She apologized for the things she said to me, and she explained how her past made her act that way. She said she was sorry for not being a better sister to me. I was shocked. I didn't expect her to actually apologize. I was still mad, but hearing her say sorry made me think. Maybe she really did want to make things right. We talked for a long time, and I told her how her words hurt me. She listened, and for the first time, I felt like she actually heard me. The next day, I went to the gym like always. I was on the treadmill, thinking about everything, when I saw my sister walk in. She came over and asked if she could join me. I was hesitant, but I said yes. We worked out together, and it was nice. We didn't talk much, just focused on the exercise, but it felt like a step in the right direction. Since then, we've been going to the gym together a couple of times a week. It's weird, but it's helping us bond. We're not best friends or anything, but it's a start. My parents are relieved, and I guess I am too. I didn't realize how much the fight was weighing on me until it started to get better. So, am I the a-hole? I don't think so anymore. I think we were both hurting in our own ways. It's not perfect, but we're working on it. And that's something, right? Thanks for reading. My mother-in-law mocks my daughter's name at her birthday dinner, so I kicked her out and made her book a hotel on the spot. Both I, 28-year-old female, and my husband, 30-year-old male, are from Latin America. We moved to the UK shortly after we had our eldest 5-year-old male. Our daughter, who turns 1 in April, was born here. My mother-in-law in her 60s, and my husband's older brother, 37-year-old male, neither of whom have met our daughter before, are flying over for her birthday. My brother-in-law wanted to get a hotel room for himself, and my mother-in-law doesn't speak any English, so we decided to have her stay at our place instead of leaving her alone in a foreign country. Years ago, when I was pregnant with my son, my husband and I made the mistake of revealing his name to our families. My mother-in-law spent the next months complaining about it. She'd send us lists of name suggestions, look up bad historical figures with the same name as the one we had chosen, and just generally say it was awful. She didn't stop until our son was born and the name was on his birth certificate. So for my second pregnancy, we decided to keep our daughter's name a secret until after her birth. We figured that not knowing her name until it was unchangeable would stop my mother-in-law from complaining. We were wrong. Our daughter's name is Cecilia. Minutes after she was born, my mother-in-law called my husband and asked, "You know Cecilia means blind, right?" Almost a year later, she hasn't stopped complaining. If it's not because of the meaning, it's because it's ugly, long, or an old lady name. There have been occasions in which my husband sent pictures of her to his family's group chat, and his mom replied with stuff like, "How cute! Too bad her name is Cecilia." It genuinely feels like my daughter is being bullied. Whenever we talk to my mother-in-law, which has been happening less and less lately for this exact reason, she has a new complaint. Up until now, the main reason I was able to kind of tune it out was because she hadn't complained to us in person or in front of our children. But she'll be here in less than 2 weeks, and I'm absolutely certain she'll continue her crusade at our home. I don't want to hear it. I don't want my son to hear it. And I don't want my baby's first birthday to be ruined by grandma's bitching. So a couple months ago, my husband and I called his mom. We told her she could no longer stay with us, and to ask my brother-in-law to help her get a hotel room. We also told her the reasons behind our decision. My mother-in-law cried on the phone and has called us several times since. She always either apologizes, calls us dramatic, or accuses us of alienating her from her grandkids. Throughout all this, she continues to insist she has the right to dislike our daughter's name, and still hasn't booked a hotel room. My brother-in-law agrees she's being rude, but is upset we told her she can no longer stay at our place. He's accusing us of forcing an elderly woman to stay alone in a foreign country, even though we're perfectly capable of housing her. He's also mad that after promising for months that my mother-in-law could stay at our house, we're retracting our offer. This whole situation has been exhausting, and I'm starting to worry I might be overreacting. Am I the idiot? Now, for a few comments before the update. Comment 1, not the idiot. The compromise solution is simple. Let her come stay with you, but with the understanding that if she makes one comment about your daughter's name, out she goes. That very minute, you and your husband can drive her directly to the nearest hotel. Over and out. Comment 2, mother-in-law cried on the phone and has called us several times since. She always either apologizes, calls us dramatic, or accuses us of alienating her from her grandkids. Does she honestly think insulting a kid about their name would make the child like her? Not the idiot. Now, for the update, thanks for all the comments on my last post. Things have escalated since then. The tension was thick as my mother-in-law's arrival date loomed closer. Despite our clear message, she hadn't booked a hotel room. My husband and I were at our wits' end trying to stand our ground, while also fearing we might be pushing his family away. Then, 2 weeks before her flight, my mother-in-law called. She was sobbing, saying she had been trying to learn English phrases to apologize to me in person. She begged to stay with us, promising she wouldn't utter a single word against Cecilia's name. My husband, torn between his mother's pleas and our resolve, suggested a compromise. She could stay, but at the first sign of negativity, she'd have to find a hotel. The day she arrived, the air was tense. My son clung to my leg as she entered, unsure of the grandmother he hadn't seen in years. My brother-in-law, who had picked her up from the airport, shot us a look that said, "You better make this work." The first few days were surprisingly peaceful. My mother-in-law doted on the kids, and there was no mention of Cecilia's name. But I could tell she was holding back, her lips pursing whenever someone called the baby by her name. Then, during a family dinner, it happened. My son, excited about his sister's upcoming birthday, blurted out, "Cecilia's going to be 1." My mother-in-law's face twisted, and she muttered something under her breath. My husband, who had been giving her the benefit of the doubt, froze. The room went silent. That night, my husband and I had a long talk. We couldn't let this continue, not with our daughter's birthday just days away. The next morning, he sat down with his mother. He told her that her behavior was unacceptable and that she needed to book a hotel room as we had initially agreed. My mother-in-law, perhaps realizing the gravity of the situation, finally relented. She moved to a nearby hotel, and my brother-in-law stayed with her to help navigate the city. Cecilia's birthday arrived, and we held a small party at our home. My mother-in-law came, and to our surprise, she brought a gift. A beautiful handmade blanket with Cecilia's name embroidered on it. She pulled me aside, her eyes welling up, and apologized. She admitted that her behavior was driven by jealousy. Back home, she felt disconnected from our lives and had lashed out in the only way she knew how. The party was a success. My son laughed and played with his grandmother, and Cecilia babbled happily in her high chair, unaware of the turmoil that had surrounded her name. My mother-in-law kept her promise, and there was a sense of healing in the air. In the end, my husband and I learned that setting boundaries was necessary, but so was understanding the underlying emotions that drove the conflict. Our family isn't perfect, but we're learning to navigate the challenges together. Thanks for reading. If you liked this video, you'll probably like these too. Also, while you're here, please consider subscribing. It's your support that keeps this channel alive and allows me to make better and longer videos. Have a great day.